Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is going to be focused on something I came up with. I guess it's going to be interesting. I hope it's going to be interesting for you. It's being called Positive Feedback Spoken About You, or Positive Things Said or Spoken About You. What does this mean? As an overview, these are going to be the comments, the things, and the little details you might have overlooked, or you might have maybe forgotten to take in account, or the instances where people appreciated you greatly, but it kind of remained unnoticed, or you didn't take it quite to the heart. The aim for this was specifically for these people who feel like at times they could walk in life invisible and they have no influence or positive like power or literal influence over circumstances, people, and stuff. Um, so this reading is going to be helping you realize the positive things, feedback, and stuff people told about you that you didn't see or you perhaps forgot to notice. Okay. Uh, for this, we have as usual three piles. First pile has all the three piles have earrings. The first pile has a silverish ring. Second pile has like a moon type of ring, and the third pile has like a golden round ring. Okay, take your time and pick your pile. You can choose multiple piles. At some point, I should be describing you in detail. So if it resonates with who you are and your circumstances, situations in which you are, then it's basically for you. Also, I was thinking about I should implement situational cards. I'll try to read the cards in this way, meaning that I will try to seek information into information about the circumstances in which you were appreciated and the feedback which it was like all about, or what it was about basically. So yeah, I think that's enough for the introduction. uh, yeah, the rules are all outlined already. My readings are not gender specific, so yeah, it's for everyone. Enjoy. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, thanks for all the support. Thanks for commenting below. Thanks for appreciating the content I create. It means a whole great deal to me because I remember the first comments I got, and still the ones I'm receiving, were the first backup for the confidence I got for reading the cards. Aside from my personal experience of it resonating and basically predicting events beforehand, still having a feedback which is consistent and is highly amusing at times and very entertaining to read, it's something that definitely will be a part of my life and my passion linked to the tarot. So if you commented or you are going to comment in the videos, then a huge thanks to you. Of course, not relating to the ones who criticize. I'm not gonna waste time on that, but I just wanted to say thanks for all the great things you write in the comments, and especially a lot of people were very, very like smart and cunning and very like comic in the ways in which they express themselves, which I highly appreciate. I really like the people who are able to basically layer their sense of humor or make it so that it's not like a easy uh, get to go type of joke. So yeah, anyways, I appreciate you all. Thanks for all the support and thanks for everything. I'm here for you. I hope to improve the readings and to improve the experience, or at least to make it stable and very um, fun, very like great for you. Okay, yeah, I think that's enough for the rambling in the introduction. um, I'll be meeting you, metaphorically speaking, in each of your piles. Okay, let's begin with pile number one. Those of you who chose the silver earring. The central card for you is going to be take a break, a life's work, not a season, get off the treadmill. In regards to positive things and feedback spoken about you, this is coming both ways, that you seem or are very refreshing. You are very intuitive, creative, and also flexible in your ideas, and can be quite like you can come off with very new, fresh, inspirational ideas. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a work related situation where people see you as like a brilliant catalyst for ideas, or a catalyst of ideas, or an engine of the project. And also, that came off, interestingly enough, in the read as a message that you might have this attitude of not taking everything seriously. This is in the good way, I want to say, because this is completely the opposite of someone who's very tense. This is completely the opposite as well to someone who's very serious, very stuck in their ways. With a take a break, it's as if sometimes you detach from your situation in order for you to grasp the other perspectives. And this also is like you enjoy life. It feels like you enjoy life not for its achievements. People say that you are very like easygoing, and that you know how to keep a record for important stuff, and as well to not get absorbed by them, you know. This is an admiration of sorts from people who can't seem to get off the rat race, like get off the treadmill. It's literally the sense of, you know, not getting caught up in a lot of drama, or in a lot of I have to work, I have to make a living, like specifically in regards to not making it like your sole purpose. I feel like people admire and love about you, like the feedback you received as of late was for the fact that you are very easygoing, and that you are a very refreshing person to have into their life, and that sometimes it feels like with your presence things are easier. It's like sometimes people overcomplicate things, and you've got some comments in the sense where they say, you know, I was stuck on my problem and pile number one came in, and I got this fresh new idea to fix everything, or to make a change. This pile as well is about productive change made out of resting, made out of being creative but not exhausted, you know? It's like this pile is very good at taking the right things seriously, and also taking a break from them and actually enjoying life. I feel like this is a very extroverted pile as well. Doesn't have to be, but either that, or you can be very social, or you could be someone who's very much so on the end of connecting to a lot of people, having a network of sorts. If you are introverted, then perhaps this means that you like to keep a lot of passive connections in your life. And I feel like this is like a lot of people praise you for the fact that you are very innovative, yet you don't fit that very close-minded idea of a corporate like style of thinking where you just sit there, you find a solution. No, this style is more about living. It's more about um, bringing ideas and generating ideas out of you being here, and out of the joy and the delight of living. And I feel like you have this spark that basically ignites and awakens people, especially those with depression. Not gonna like, I'm not professional in that regard, but when I say depression, it's like sad people, okay? So for you to understand, you are very inspirational. I feel like you could have received in the past, or as of late, the feedback that you helped people get out of their problems, their issues, their temporary setbacks, and that you somehow introduced a new chapter in their life. I don't know how you did that, but it feels like this is more related to their presence, to your presence, I mean. Like this pile um, would say, don't take everything seriously. Like, take a break. Don't, life doesn't have to be serious. Like, a meaningful life is not usually a serious one. A meaningful life is a joyful life. A meaningful life as well would be for this pile expressing themselves, being happy for just being, okay? I feel like also this is coming through as very controversial because your attitude in life could be heavily criticized at first, and you could also come off as very like liberated from responsibility. This is all, of course, misconception because this pile, I feel like you have a very good core understanding of the serious stuff into your life. This is not a pile which basically would, or who would basically go in life with the attitude of the full card, which is basically no responsibility or accountability and basically just enjoying life. No, this pile just has a good discernment in that regard, and I feel like you've received a lot of praise and appreciation and positive feedback about it, and it came through specifically work, being work related. Situational stuff could be as well. For this pile, if you are like learning or you're teaching or you are like university school, whatever, it's like also relating to that. It's also relating in life, to your attitude as well. Family can be significant in here. This is basically the information it comes through, and also I feel like mentorship in a way. I don't know why, but as if your advice, as if your word would or was actually in the past a very good thing to have, or a very important fragment, you know, of people finding a way out of their issues, because we haven't here the Five of Cups. And also, a lot of people learn from you, I want to say, because in here we have the Page of Swords, the King of Swords. It's as if people learn from everything you say, do, and act. You are a living example of living in your own integrity and list of values, and I feel like people learn from it. I would say, I wouldn't necessarily expect people would be asking you, but they would want to ask you a lot. They would want to ask you for information, details, stuff with this King of Swords, as if they would want to ask you how you did it, and they would like to replicate it. They would like to learn in the ways in which you learned. Very good experienced, very a great degree of experience this pile as well has, and a high maturity that's also coming through. Um, it's interesting because we have in here the Wheel of Fortune. It's as if, you know, people related to you as that quality core crew person in their team, in their work environment, or in life you could have seen or regarded as someone who doesn't take life as a lucky like chance, or someone who's basically not going to wait around and call it fate or wait for luck in their life. It's as if, you know, with the Wheel of Fortune, you would rather build it by yourself. You know, it's like pile number one is real. Pile number one is not for easy win. And I don't say like you won't take the easy win, but I feel like in life you can be with that attitude of I have to build serious stuff, and they cannot again serious, this is funny it came through, but it's the right type of serious, okay? It's like I have to build something, I want to build something in life that is not solely built on chance or coincidence. This pile gives me a sense of legacy as well, so it could be that people feel like you can have this very light, free-spirited, but also very consequential or step-by-step type of approach in life, and you know when to take breaks, okay? Um, Seemingly with the Five of Cups, by the way, it feels like you've been through a lot, and the failures of yours were actually observed from afar. And the ways in which you handled them, they say that you handled them very, very wisely, very well. And as if this pile is like, you would have a whole course you could teach on the ways in which you can basically get out of upsetting situations, difficult, troubling situations and circumstances, or people in life. I feel like this pile is very experienced, and this is basically what, like, channeling through this is what people say. Also interesting, because you have the sun in reverse. It's as if, you had to fight for your happiness. It's as if this pile had to go through a lot of turmoil, a lot of trials and tribulations, and it was not all easy and given to you. But they also say that despite the challenges, despite the hardships, you came through in a renewed state. You came through with a different set of qualities, not better ones, but it's as if your character only unfolded or blossomed as a result of exposure to a lot of stressors. And yeah, with the sunflower, it's this metaphor of this flower gives me the impression, sunflowers seek sunlight always. Like, they turn their flower always to the sun, and I can't feel like this can be the case of you basically following your North Star, your guidance. This pile had no time to waver. This pile had no time to basically victimize themselves or the situations around them. And this is coming through also as a great degree or power, or a great awareness of your willpower. Um, Also, this pile feels like, this is interesting because, this pile for some reason feels very serious, but in very unexpected ways, and in the ways in which people related to you. They saw you as very light and easygoing. And while this is true, I feel like you do have strengths, and you can be, and you are very responsible for a lot of spheres, in your life. And this was not easy. I feel like for this pile, people say that you are lucky, but it's not about luck. This pile is not about luck. This pile is about conscious drive and direction, and generally speaking, a desire for more. It's like that's basically what's coming through. For people from the first row of the cards, you are more so a mystery. You are more so someone who's, let's say, not very descriptive, or someone who they do not understand. You come off as very mysterious, like very mysterious in that non-descriptive type of way. It's as if they wouldn't get who you are, but they kind of have the consequences, they kind of have the signs, they have the inklings that you are someone else entirely. It's like, in the good way. You could pose and play in a lot of roles assigned to you by your circumstances in life. And these could be roles such as a teacher, a worker, a manager, whatever the situation may be for you, but you are more than that. People feel it, and they could sense it coming through, and they have a lot of questions. I wouldn't be surprised if people on their daily basis would try to basically extort information or find information about you, whether it is by asking you directly, though I feel like people wouldn't dare. That's the kind of energy I felt. But they try to find what's going on. There is much more to this pile than it seems. There is much more to them than this, like, take a break, very enthusiastic and light in life, which is very interesting. By the way, I don't know if you did that on purpose, and actually let me know. What do you think about it, if it resonates with you? I generally think that I resonate with this whole idea of mystery, and I kind of resonate with the whole character trait as well in here set, let's say. But it's interesting because people kind of want to get a closer outlook on you. They want to get like a close front row seat type of energy to you, but it's like the stage is not ready. Like, what do you think about it? I'm interested. um do you know, are you aware of the fact that you are being seen as a guide for a lot of people, and are you aware of the fact that your character seems to be talked about quite a lot, and is being referred to as something that is very sound. So I have this question for this first row of cards. Like, I'm interested to know, like, take a break. What do you think about this? What is standoffish about this for you specifically, and how well you can relate to that, if at all? I'm interested to know. Also, judging by the Nine of Cups, the Devil in Reverse, and the Five of Wands, people complimented and spoke about a very positive feedback about you, you being non-conflictual. But trust me, this is not about non-confrontational. This pile feels like you would basically go for a quarrel, a fight in the last resort. I feel like this pile tries to their best of capacities to find a mutually beneficial option for both parties. And with the Nine of Cups, you know, as if you have your whole cards displayed and you have nothing to hide. You know, with the Devil in Reverse, I would say you are very skilled at a lot of things, but you try to find the most healthy, the most ecologically speaking option available, and you're very interested in people's well-being, whether people realize this or not. But of course, this is all felt. I feel like situationally wise, this could as well be people's relationships with you and social interactions. And I would say people see and feel like you would be someone who's a good leader. Though I don't know why for this pile, I feel like yet you are not in this position, or you wouldn't qualify yourself as one. Like, what do you think about this, by the way? How is it that you have such pure cards, obviously a quality of a leader, qualities, yet it feels to me like you hesitate? And I feel like if we were to ask people the places you've been in, or the feedback you gave, or the situations in which you participated, they were left with an aftertaste of peace, resolution, and community. Like, what do you think about this? Okay, it's like, are you aware of that? Is it resonating with you? And to be honest, it's a very clueless type of energy in here. So it's as if you don't quite know, or you're not quite sure or aware of the magnitude of your intervention in here. Okay. Also, with the King of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it's as if it's a very paradoxical situation. You don't necessarily chase money, but it kind of it chases you. Okay. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have this intuition, you have this hint for what is going to work out, for what is to be taken and worked on, and what is to be basically discarded. I feel like, you know, for some reason, especially with money, of course, situational stuff, it's as if you were to be approached by a scammer or someone who would try to basically exploit you in the financial way, they would basically have to speculate or to exploit a side of you that would be, for example, a desire for huge sums of money. And I feel like this pile doesn't have this like blind spot necessarily. I don't say you don't value money, but I feel like you have the right kind of attitude, or a very settled or grounded, like proper way in thinking about money. Or it could be, by the way, that people related and said pile number one is very good at spending and saving and managing money. And with the Wheel of Fortune, you know, they see you as lucky. Like, I don't know, they see the combination of they're both lucky and very smart at the same time to not miss the money, you know. It's with the Ace of Pentacles, it's like the missed opportunity in the classical sense, but in here it's, you know, you have a more detached or grand perspective on your finances or abundance in general, and you do realize that there is no such a thing like as a missed opportunity. There is only intuition that guides, or your voice that guides you to do certain stuff. And I would say generally people could look at your finances, and a lot of them could say like, in the past you should have done that, this, whatever. Or they would say, they would look at your opportunities in life and they would say like, why don't you take them? Where you are just listening to yourself and you realize that if you don't choose, or if you don't feel like going for an opportunity, then it's not the time. It's like you have this very spiritual understanding, or people see like there is some sort of witchcraft related to this situation of theirs with money. People look at it and say like, what's going on? I'm not sure what is happening, but this person kind of ends up with the best of the best. I feel like with the ghost card, it's interesting because it came through. It's like you could go through situations in life that would generally scar people, and you kind of go through them like a ghost, or with a ghost type of attitude. And it's very strange, but it seems like you go in life and it doesn't affect you, like negative stuff don't affect you. And they're wondering like, can you feel at all? But no, it's like this pile just has been like, has experience. Okay, it's like you know how to handle things, and the compliments you got, or the positive feedback, was that you go through negative events and circumstances and emotions with a very high degree of fluidity, and in a very fast paced, non-resistant type of way. With the patron in reverse, I want to say people like to have you, or would like to have you in as their leader, because it feels like you are not domineering, you are not dictatorial. Um, you could be very attuned to someone to such an extent that you could feel what is right for them and what is wrong. I feel like this is also a very refined pile, and people related to you, they saw the qualities in you, they would refer to you as a leader, but you don't take the role. It feels like either it's not the time, and it's completely fine, I'm not rushing, but the sailor, people are generally left with an aftertaste of, you are more than you realize, and there is much more to you and your applicability than you are actually realizing it. Because the ship card in the upright would be about travel, adventure, and exploration for me. And with this pile, it's like, right now you're more so not closed off from the world necessarily, but from acting, from taking action, or taking the steering wheel. Okay, that was the feeling I got with this combination of cards. It's also a case where you are being seen for um, taking the right action in the right time, yet it feels like there are a lot of people saying that you are so gifted. It's just like so sad that you don't take action on a lot of things that could be changed by your mere intervention. Okay, it's interesting because also we have the brutal and the awkward. I feel like you could be so like dense and vast in your expression, and it's almost as if for some people it's too much, but they are amazed. They are honestly bewildered. They're perplexed and overwhelmed with the depth and with your all like, it's too much. It's for a lot of people it's too much, but it's too much, but give me more. It's that kind of attitude. It's like having a one-on-one with you, conversationally wise, or you just exposing your ideas and the ways, or your thoughts, or the ways in which you think, for a lot of people could be seen as very intriguing, very unknown, very vast, and so much to take in. um, Obviously I want to say, because we have the companion card, this could be going to a more romance type of spectrum message. If you're interested, then yeah, it's as if people wonder whether you are single or not, and who is that person who you're going to end up with, and they see that they're going to have to match that power. They see that they have to match that whole set of attributes and qualities. Okay, but also I want to say you are being seen as very cute, and also very like mischievous in your emotions, or in the ways in which you act. For some reason, it's I would say this pile is being talked about in a very like playful way, that you are very skilled in life and with life experience and stress and resilience and stress capacity, like stress endurance. But in love, you could be like a hopeless romantic or a clueless person in that regard. I would say with a companion, either you do have a person, obvious, like let me check. Seven of Pentacles. You definitely have one or more. Yeah, it's obviously with this pile, with the world, it's a lot of people. They wanna basically come through, and they would like to give you that guidance, and they would like to lovingly take the reins for you in that regard, where they would let you lead the way when it comes to life experience, circumstances, and knowledge. But in love affairs, they would rather take the reins into their own hands. Um, this is also very, very romantic, to be honest, because it feels like this is the case where someone would be crushing on you and they would deliberately want to basically assist you in that whole domain of feelings and stuff. And you could be acquainted, by the way, but it's just that sometimes your feelings could get in the way, okay? Um, Interested to know what you thought about money and luck and the ways in which you are basically handling situations. I really, really love the fact that you have this very free spirited, free, non constriction type of energy, and the mentorship element for this reading is awesome. If you can take ownership for that, and if you feel like this is you, this is hilarious. Like, I forgot, or I feel like I don't know if there are people like this anymore. So I don't know where you live or if you are not extinct. I'm just wondering, just like, but with a companion, I want to say, like, I want to know, how do you feel about this? It feels like you could be so complicated about your life at times, and yet very easygoing with the first card. It's like the facade, or sometimes you just know how to take breaks, as I said. But it feels to me like, you know, in love, you could be very like uncharted territory, or you are so not like very pure, very like straightforward in love, where you could be loving that person and saying, yeah, I love this person, I'm never gonna approach them. Or, with a sword, it's like this side of things can be even much more stressful in life, beyond the whole experience, or beyond the social aspects I have just described. I feel like you could be so soft in romance. I can't. People say that you are a hopeless romantic for some reason, and yet with a combination of the skyscraper and the playful and the meeting, they see you as a very, very noble and very notable person when it comes to business, life experience, whatever. And I'm not saying that you are like not noble or whatever in love, but it's just so funny. Like when I look at it, it's just like this pile would be screaming like, not screaming, but yeah, whatever. Someone help me, like someone help me figure this out, because I feel like, I'm very scared for some reason. And it's fascinating, like fascinating, because it's a very huge discrepancy of sorts. It's like, there are aspects and spheres of life where you could be more advanced, or more like you could have this whole baseline intuitive knowing of what's right and wrong. But in romance, it feels like, you could be so like out there needing support, not support, but like guidance. Or I feel like also this is a good thing, because you could end up in this kind of situation with someone who would be assisting you, or with someone who's going to be loving enough for you to basically open the layers, open the new chapter, the stages of this like unfolding stuff. Or maybe it was never meant for you to basically be the sole explorer of this type of thing. Maybe it was specifically aimed for a person to aid you, and that was the whole idea back from the beginning. Either way, I don't know, I don't feel like this is a life importance type of situation. So definitely explore and feel free to take it with your own pace, whether you want to explore it alone, like whether you want to study it or. But I feel like you should be generally going with the flow of the things, because generally you are seen as very cute, very 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 cute, and people would want to assist you. They are not having this exam type of attitude, like show me everything you've got, show me what you know and what you don't, and show me your accomplishments. No, I would rather let you be guided either by yourself, it is your choice, and if not, then by someone else, because I see an opportunity in here for that kind of thing. So that was all, pile number one. I feel like we have in here a great reading for very, very pure inner child type of aspects. I'm eager to know what you think about it, and I want to know what's going on with this whole romance thing situation. Whichever thing you'd like to comment on, I'm gonna be very interested to find out. If you want, that's of course your option. But I feel like generally this is very nice and also very like this reminds me of a mentor who intervenes when things should be steered in a more positive direction. You could be a very good and wise leader, and you could have, if you are not already in a leadership position, it can mean that you are going to be, or you're going to learn it in a greater sense, or you're prepared for it. Okay. Very social, very powerful reading. I love it. I love the very like unexpected, pure, and not that I wasn't expecting them, but it was very like you don't know what the cards will show. That's the kind of thing where very pure, very light, very child, innocent type of, which are very like combined with a mature outlook on things and life experience. You've managed to still save and preserve, and yeah, it's basically save and keep and actually blossom. It's not only about blossoming, it's not only about keeping, it's about expanding. It's about expanding and using that quality of purity and innocence in life, where um, you are an adult, but you know how to live like a child, or you know how to see the world from a child's perspective, which is priceless for your life quality experience and for others around you. Very, very nice energy. Okay, so that was all, pile number one. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. And I really hope to see you in the future reads. Take care. Okay, hello and welcome, pile number two. Those of you who chose the moon earring, the golden one, of course. And the first thing that comes through my mind as I look at the cards, people have been talking about some sort of aspect of your money and work ethic that is really, really appreciated. Why I keep saying that, it's literally because we have so many pentacles card, them being surrounded as well by the element of water, or the cups card. Now, it feels to me like this pile has managed to settle in some sort of stability or groundedness, and the subsequent qualities that come as a byproduct of it. We have the King of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. People say that you can be very reliable. They also say that, you know, you're very serious and very with your feet on earth when it comes to creating things and stuff into your life. Overall, aside from the idea of money, it feels to me like you're very flexible as well, and some of you, or a lot of you, have managed to successfully link your emotions to your work. And I feel like this is generally like a pile which is being regarded as a very powerful business type of person, or someone with a very good income. Okay, the King of Pentacles, it's a very noble, it's a very like, people would refer to you as being someone who's very important and serious, and generally speaking mature. This pile as well, because we have this crumbling in reverse, people say that you don't get into conflicts, at least for like a light reason, or it's, you know, you're very stable, you're very powerfully grounded into your own identity and your power. It's as if, you know, it would take a lot of stress, a lot of injustice for this pile to be thrown out of balance. And I was wondering, like, if this resonates with you, how did you manage to do that? I feel like I'm starting to interview people in my reads, because I did that with pile number one, but um, I'm interested to know how you do that, how you've accomplished this. Maybe there are some key golden tips and tricks for people out there for you to share them, because obviously I feel like this is a very powerfully stable and grounded type of energy, as well one that doesn't interfere with emotions, because we haven't here this Eight of Cups in reverse. I feel like, you know, the commitment in this pile, it's quite fascinating. It's honestly something very distinct and different from what I usually find. You know, it's as if this person from pile number two would be someone who quickly is able to redirect attention and energy to something that is working, rather than something that is not and would be draining you or your finances or your stability in general. Overall, this is a very refreshing and very clear card. I want to say, I would feel like you have like a sort of a vault, or like a secret layer, where, or like a diary of sorts, where you place all of your secrets, problems in life, whatever, and you know, you kind of compartmentalize things. I don't know, this can be both good and bad, but generally speaking, I would say you are not chaotic, because the crumbling for me in this case would be a very chaotic and, let's say, disorganized quality of a person, you know. And in this case, it feels like it's literally the opposite, and this is a very good pile at keeping track of things going smoothly. And I was wondering to know, how is it that you are able to do that? Because a lot of pentacles, like a lot of work related, commitment related stability that is being that is accompanying whatever it is that you're doing, okay? um this is basically the feedback and the positive things people say about you, so it feels like they generally didn't see you in a very bad mood, or like they say you are very stress resistant, and that you can be actually very reliable and a very serious or very important business person. Yeah, literally, like, I'm curious to know, and for others as well, how you manage to do that, because it's a very, let's say, thoroughly or deeply thought through thing that you have managed to accomplish. And if this is not work related or whatever, it could be that you hold this type of mentality, or generally you hold yourself accountable to be like this. And it always tends to overflow in life in different, like, aspects. But for this pile, it's a very noble, grounded sense of um, stability and reliability, as well as commitment. This pile gives me the energy of someone who was referred to in discussions as being very stable, reliable, committed, and serious in the good way, let's say. And as well, it feels like you could have moments of emotions seeping through, but they are very much so tempered, or they are very refined. It doesn't mean that you suppress them, and if it is the case, then it's your discernment how you pick this information up. But it feels to me like you refine your emotions, and you refine the way in which you present yourself to the world. You have the necromancer in reverse, so I feel like in this case it would mean that you are very good at showing the right character traits in the right situations. So that means if you have a funny situation, whether it is at home, at work, or in society, you generally know very well how to attribute your character traits or character personalities, for example, to these types of situations. And with a necromancer, it's as if, you have the potential to use the proper set of qualities for the proper situation, circumstances. You have as well the aspirant, ambition, and diligence and setbacks. Again, very slow but steady type of energy. The enchanter, deception, and trickery. I would say people regarded you as someone who's very sociable as well, someone who is very well, like almost trained to communicate in a proper manner, in a very decent, a very expressive and efficient way. This pile speaks about efficiency strictly because there are the dominant pentacles cards. I would say, and also people say around you, that you are a very efficient person. When you talk to someone, you are not like BSing around with words. You are very like on point on like business related stuff. And almost as if, this pile, people say when you interact with someone, something, or whatever it is, you have the capacity to bring the best in the situation, like the best of the best, and it's strictly because of the pentacles again. Again, question for you, and what you think about it, you can share it in the comments. How and what do you think about this? Is it a conscious thing, I'm sorry, or is it an unconscious thing that you're doing? Because usually I see people doing that on purpose, and it's well trained. But I don't know, for some of you, maybe you're doing this without even realizing it. So in that case, yeah, maybe it can be. You have the moon in reverse. Generally speaking, people saw in you that quality of being very clear, on point, precise, very like also there is an aspect of admiration in here for this pile where people see that you are very straightforward and that you are not necessarily going to sit there and basically play games with people, and also on point when it comes to business. Like I would say you would be about someone, like you would be about making bargains with people and having agreements with them on a very clear note, on a very non-manipulative or shady business type of way. I feel like this, like Eight of Pentacles, it's a very diligent person and a very, like, let's say cold person when it comes to business, but at the same time having the right coldness to address serious stuff like documents or again cooperations. I would say you are, or people would say that you are a very good mediator, especially when it comes to sealing contracts. How you say that, I don't know, I forgot. It's basically managing and creating positive and very efficient agreements. If this is work related, it means your company is seeing you as an asset, but generally speaking, I feel like this is more about the whole world, how they see you, what they talked about you, and stuff like this. More so in the world type of lens, it's as if, people saw the quality of yours, of who you are, and they can't help but talk about this. They say that you can be at times with the Four of Pentacles, someone who is very much so, like, not territorial, but like somehow very stable and not set in their ways, but stubborn, on their own type of solution seeking way and whatever. But again, this is coming through as you made it work for you. It's your type of style, and you don't like, people interfering with that kind of self-made and self chosen style. It's interesting because I saw in here the Empress, and again the bottom left right side was with the legs and Diva. This is a very positive, a very interesting message relating to your appearance. People say that you are very refined in your looks, especially because of the Empress. It's a very abundant, it's a very luxurious, also very high maintenance type of look that you've got, or energy in general, and looks at the same time. um, People realize and they say that, you draw in and you accept only people and relationships that are very high quality, and that you won't settle for any less. I also say with this pile that with the diva you have a very, very expensive and refined taste. It's that kind of taste and refinement in that way where you won't settle for mediocrity into your life. And people realize this, but with a bitter, like, kind of aftertaste, because at the same time they realize you're going to go far with that kind of attitude, but at the same time they feel as though you're going to hold them accountable to the same type of metric that you impose upon yourself, and that you are actually very well trained or very well suited to follow. So I feel like, choosing the best for you, choosing the most efficient and the most expensive thing for you because you love yourself, and that you would like to expand on that. With the Empress doesn't feel like she doesn't deserve, the luxury. No, it's more so, I love myself and I love the world, and I would like to give that to everyone if I can. So, for people, it can come off as really expensive, really hard to get, like this luxury that you're aiming for. For you, however, it can be a very natural and very, I feel like doing it, I feel like this is my thing. Also interested to know for this pile, have you been working on this type of view? Uh, was it like in your blood? Was it in your bloodline? But generally speaking, when I see that, it's most likely a thing where it's in their consciousness, it's in their being, it's in their generations, but like very, very good looks for this pile. It's also very expensive looks. It's also very, for some of you with a modest, you can have, let's say, a very luxurious way in which you carry yourself, but you're not exaggerating with it, because we haven't here the modest. But again, you know your price, you know your value is infinite, metaphorically speaking, the price. But yeah, it's very interesting. I would say, if anything, the world would have to learn a lot from your attitude of seriousness, groundedness, ability to control somehow or to compartmentalize your emotions, and as well the ways in which you carry, refine, and cultivate your sense of style. This pile would be very much so also praised for their ability to carry themselves well in the proper situations, as well as choosing the right attunement of qualities and character traits for the proper and for the best of situations. Because I would say this pile is being seen in very different ways by and analyzed by a lot of people, and seen in very um, different and very, like, also extreme ways. So someone would say that you're a jokester, someone would say that you are very grounded, serious, and yeah, business oriented. I would expect this pile to be a bit of everything with everyone. So generally speaking, like, it's all related to the best of the best, like the best efficient interaction you can get, and also the best feeling. So it's as if you would get a sort of personal gratification when it comes to um, how you choose your personalities for every situation. And I would say you have a lot of people aware of that, and they say, like, yeah, we really, really like the fact that you can show yourself from different sides, and that you can actually manage to do that in a very constructive way. Because with ambition, diligence, as well, the setbacks, I would say this pile has worked a lot on their image, on their self-perception as well, and on the ways, like, this is a refined person. If you are not into self-development, or I don't know how you did that, but it really doesn't matter, since this pile is very, like, again, I'm saying this so many times, complex, a very complex personality in general. And I want to say this is a pile which doesn't attract, who doesn't attract a lot of attention on purpose, because you're uh, like you're not attention seeking. You can attract attention, but it doesn't mean that you rely on it or that you need it or that you're hungry for it. I also want to say there is a feeling with the Two of Swords that you're very orderly. This could come off in both ways, related to your exterior, or it can be also related to your interior world. That means people see you as very orderly, very clean, very like essential, very focused, as well as like on the most important aspects, especially with the moon. It's like, if anything, this pile was talked about in the way where they say they are very much so straight on point. They are very conscious, also very clean, very organized, very determined, and very clear on their goals and aspirations. Okay, that's also with the blog. You know that kind of feeling where you can basically organize your thoughts, organize your problems in life, or whatever the case may be. The aspect of orderly, it's basically coming through with this pile, and it's also a feeling of modesty. It's interesting, this card has in here like this, the modest. It's also with the Page of Wands. It's like you don't have this attitude of arrogance where you will basically be with your nose up in the sky. No, it's like you are still learning, you're still expanding, you're still working. It's as if, also with the qualities I have outlined previously, people look at that and say, like, you've already reached so many good things, like, you've already reached a lot of milestones of yours, and it's all like seen, almost as if they feel it or they can see it on your face. But you don't stop there, and it's also like a feeling of not necessarily envy, but it's like a feeling of, I'm not there. um some people would say, like, I'm not there, but they are there, and they're still wanting more. It's like, if they want more, then what more can I want, like, what more can they actually aim for? Because already we feel behind. Literally not the case. Like, this is not competition. I want to emphasize this. uh, I'll give you the metaphor and you'll sort it out. I feel like you are a gardener who generally got so excited about planting, like, things in their garden, or tending to the flowers, and you got so passionate about it that you became, without even realizing it, you became a professional at it. And the flowers and the ways in which you arranged the flowers in the garden could have been so, like, let's say, advanced that you didn't care to notice. But when people entered that garden, they saw it and they really appreciated the ways and the refined ways in which you did it. And also, it made them compare themselves or their gardens to yours. So literally, this could be the case for this pile. Also, it's as if this pile is generally praised a lot for their advancement, their their milestones they have reached, and their, like, some sort of professionalism in the ways in which they aimed at created stuff into their life. And again, this is coming through as very, like, you're not aware of it, but you don't have to necessarily be aware of it for you to not get into, like, a prideful type of thing. But again, with the Two of Swords, it's as if you have your principles really, really sorted out. And I want to say, if anything, we have to learn from this pile to have the quality of being orderly, very clean, and minimalistic. And also, this pile is about being beautiful, but also very modest, it's, whatever is, sorry, I forgot how you call this, but there is a genius aspect in simplicity, you know it's there is beauty in simplicity, yeah. And it's not just beauty, it's as if, quality over quantity type of thing, type of mentality. Or, you could have, because this is about looks, You could have a very, like, let's say, in technical ways, a very simple, let's say, outfit, but it looks very, very, very deeply thought through, and it has this genius like energy to it. Like, you put your mind to it, you really worked on it, you know. With a guest and hands, I want to say the influx of people who want to know you and who want to learn from you is very high. You have reoccurring patterns of people wanting to resurface, get back into contact with you, but you refine that. Again, it's like, you know, you are very like with your arms open to people, but you do have boundaries, and they're definitely not limitless. I feel like you do have this attitude in life, like let's say with the garden. You know that if you let um, a disease or like an infestation in a garden take place with only one plant and not address it, you know that you are going to be basically plagued by it, and you'd rather like cut one rose, or let's say discard of one rose, how unfortunate that might be, uh, however unfortunate that might be, but you understand, like, this is about people. I would say you have the discernment, you have the boundaries as well, a very stable grounded sense of, I won't deal with this, I won't accept this, I won't, um yeah, it's basically, you know, I'll keep a record on it. I'll definitely make sure to be very, very polite, very non-emotional as well, very like correct and polite with the person, but I will not settle for anything less. Like, you're done, like you have little time for problematic people in general. Despite with the hands in here and the guest, there are unfortunately many who would like to be into your life, but as well many of them, like, the unfortunate part is about them trying to interfere and really mess with your boundaries. But it's like, you know, you've got this checked, so there is nothing to worry about. Um, Interesting, because the wasteful and the limitless, these two in combination, I usually read in combination as well. It's also a technique, but I feel like whatever crosses your threshold, your territory, you can transform it. So let's say, again, this pile talks about balance and assigning the right roles, right? So it's as if you would take something that doesn't work, ascribe it into a completely different section of your life, and all of a sudden it really works well. So it's as if you'd have a faulty relationship or something like of a relationship that's not very much so working in your favor. Either you discard it and find a new person, and that's how you basically manage to reallocate the positive traits. But in this case, as if you would be able to reassign this person into your life or in other people's lives, where you don't necessarily discard them, but at the same time you keep them away so that they don't mess with your boundaries. Very good mediation skills. For some reason this is coming through. So again, interesting trait. I guess this comes from experience or really knowing yourself or the world or having like experiences in general. But I would say, if anything, this pile strikes me as someone who's very, very efficient. So this is not a crazy type of attitude in life where you have to basically be super efficient, you have to be productive. No, this pile is about creation. This pile as well is about the next innovative thing or the next positive thing that you can craft into your life. So it's like that kind of attitude where you have like you are a baker and or like a cook, and you have like a whole kitchen full of ingredients. You would be that person to find the proper use for each and every ingredient so that everything is kept in check, and you'll end up like creating really good dishes at the same time, you know, as well as keeping the kitchen really, really well or properly supplied. Okay, this came through with the orderly type of energy I felt. What else can I say? This is interesting because it comes through as you being very interested in drama, or I want to say, if anything, this pile has learned to somehow distance themselves from no solution type of situations, or faulty relationships, or faulty situations in life where you basically see that there is like you assess really well the wins and the losses in an activity, and I feel like you have like a special lens, a special interest in that kind of thing, and this quality like makes you very like standoffish in general. This quality makes you somehow be productive, but in the healthy way. I also feel like this is a very experienced file. People related to you as very complicated, but at the same time very much so, like with the Three of Swords, stable. We are unable to manipulate you, as well as the kind of thing like with the Four of Pentacles. I generally feel like you have a threshold. You have the way in which you treat people, which is very nice, very like neutral, very like positively oriented. Like I want to see the best in you, but at the same time, with the Four of Pentacles, it's as if you are closely interfering with some sort of core based attributes or values in my life, then unfortunately I will have to ascribe you in a different like district, or in a different sphere of interaction, or a different way in which I will relate to you. But generally speaking, you come off as really like with open hands, generally speaking. So yeah, there is also a quality of wanting to see the best in people. Okay, let's see what else we have in here. High maintenance, I talked about this, but yeah, um, I'm wondering if this high maintenance came through as like, and I see this with people who are generally confident, but in a lot of the cases, people had to really, really work on it. So it would be nice if I were to know that, you know, whether it is inborn, and I believe it's inborn, but for some people, whether you had to uncover it and basically make it or bring it to the light, you know, because a lot of people, and I want to say with the crumbling, I get the feeling like maybe in the past, or maybe generally, um, due to some circumstances, you might have been actually the crumbling card in the upright. This is not a bad card, but generally it's like a more disorganized, creative, potential type of energy card, meaning that you might have come off in the past as being more chaotic, being more disorganized, and um, all over the place. And I feel like right now you would be more grounded or settled into your own truth, okay? And it's so different, as if, you know, people would say they don't know, or they think that you were like this for a very, very long time. And for many of you, I feel like you had to go through a lot to achieve this kind of efficiency, orderly lifestyle thing that you've managed to cultivate within yourself. So that was all pile number 2. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. And yeah, if it resonated, then I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy you can find yourself in the read. And see you next time. Take care. Okay, moving on to pile number 3. Those of you who chose the round earring, round golden earring. Okay, I think this is a very, very interesting combination you've gotten here, specifically because the undertone of the read seems to go into a lower or a more negative outlook. But hear me out, this is all like a silver lining in your case. We have in here the first card, the Ace of Light, being in reverse. So it's as if you are being referred to as a person who has gone through the worst or the most difficult situations in life, whatever it is that you're perceiving it to be that way. But it's like the right challenges for the right warrior, or for the most enduring warrior, you know. Like, this is literally feeling like the warrior of God, you know. um to translate it in the ways in which people related to you, you know, this is basically the core message of people say that if I were to be in their situation or in their shoes, I would crumble. Generally speaking, people talk about the fact that they don't know how you dealt with it. I don't know what this is, but it seems like it could be a very intense energy in this case. The pathless, difficult decisions, lack of direction, the forgotten, missed opportunities, fear of failure, and the smith, overthinking, taking action. Literally, it feels to me like this is a quality of being reborn, or this is also like a light worker type of story, or this is like, this literally reminds me of people who are born in life to go through the worst of the worst, but for them to make the most out of it at the same time. Um, you've been training for this for lifetimes. If you don't believe in light workers, whatever, if this is not your story, it doesn't have to be your story, then generally speaking, to translate it in layman's terms, or how do you even say that, it's people saw that you went through a lot of stress, or they see that you are going through a lot of stress, but you somehow managed to get on top of it. And I don't know the means in which you do that. And I'm quite curious, like the questions I got for this pile is literally what are the means? Because for that amount of intensity, it feels like it takes quite the power to actually go through it and advance, and actually not like go and fall into despair. Because I feel like this pile, you were, or you might have been very close to that. Because in Here with the Pathless and the Forgotten, I remember when I was um, watching these cards, looking at them, I realized that the Pathless and the Forgotten were the most negative ones for me. Or at least it felt to me like they are the most like unknown, or let's say on the negative spectrum type of thing or message. Though it doesn't have to be, they do have their positives as well. But this pile feels like it's literally the case of hitting the rock bottom and then ascending, or actually going through that phase and uncovering the deepest of the gems, or like the most precious of the gems. Deep diverse type of pile, as well as the metaphor of the diamonds are built or are created under pressure. So it's like a diamond is basically a coal under a lot of pressure, and the amounts of pressure this pile had to go through, and people talked about this, right? So it's as if your life story is somehow being revealed, or very much so known by a lot of people. It could be friends, relatives as well, most likely relatives, by the way, but people who have known you for a lot of time, for a great deal of like time, and as well for the progression. It's as if people know or saw the change, or saw the things that changed in within you, inside of you. And yeah, it's like, it's fascinating. It's fascinating how you've managed to change yourself, or to transform, generally saying. So a lot of respect for that you've got, you know. So just saying, I was interested to know what is going on with this pile, because seems like the amount of respect, love, and appreciation you've got for you, and for the positive feedback people have been giving to you, is somehow related to the rough path you have been going through, or you have embarked on, despite you actually wanting it. Or I don't know if you chose it specifically, but it feels like it happened, okay? And it's quite honestly the case with this pile, where it feels like you endured it, you chose to do so, even if it was hard, really hard with this one. Like, I want to know what's going on. And seemingly it's like a secret of sorts, or you had to go on or navigate it in a very like hermit mode, or meaning that you had to go through it alone, or you must have had an experience of basically having to sort it out all by yourself, or being unable to ask for help, or being in such a situation that you won't be understood properly, okay? But I generally feel like you have the strength, and people refer to you as being someone who's very, very, very like powerful, enduring, and they respect you for the amount of turmoil you had to endure and be like a guide. Maybe that is the case, like, but generally, it's like this demographic is not going to be. I want to say you can be well related to, but it's like a lot of the things you went through are generally like not so well discussed, or it's as if the things that you went through can be very similar to a lot of people's experiences, but they wouldn't dare admit this to others, and some of them even to themselves, as if we have cases where people would rather gaslight themselves into believing that everything is fine, which is basically not the case. I feel, however, in your case, you are very much so grounded in reality, and you're very much so aware of what you've been through. I see this pile as being either one or both, one as being spiritual or seen as spiritual in the second case, or both actually. Um, I'm wondering what is going on, but I want to say you've got a lot of respect, but also distance for some reason. You are specifically loved and appreciated, and the positive feedback given to you was for the fact of you being so unwavering in your intention, in your like, there is nothing that can challenge pile number 3. I know there can be stuff that can challenge you, but I want to say the general demographic sees you as a very enduring person. I know we are not invincible, none of us are, and perhaps that's the beauty of life, but still there is something very bold and straightforward and unwavering in face of danger when it comes to pile number 3. And also with the sun and this first central card, it's like, I know everything is going to be fine, and if not, then I'll make it. Like, um, with a feeling of contribution and social, like social aspect coming through the reading, where it feels like you could contain or could help others in the darkest moments of their life. And I feel like this wouldn't have been possible in the first place if you were not to go through it by yourself at some point in time. Maybe you would find solace or meaning in your pain by that. But it feels like, this pile has managed to go through a lot and still not lose the hope. Or, it's if this, and specifically this is in reverse, it could be that this is an all enfolding journey, but generally speaking, like, you would be the one who they talk about in the lens of they've been through a lot and they didn't break. Not only they didn't break, they still managed to be positive. They still managed to go through it with an attitude of noble and with an like a very, very good poise, and very like with grace. Like, this is what's coming through. I would feel like most of the people would fall into despair for some reason with this pile. Most people would fall, like the general demographic, let's say. Your pile, however, the people watching from pile number 3 would be seeking a way to transform it. And also, I want to say this is both the case of a difficult yet a very beautiful and very intense and passionate life. So it's like, let's say you didn't aim for something mediocre when you chose your challenges, so to speak. So, for this pile as well, the worse it gets, the better it gets as well. So almost as if in life people generally are stuck with a gray zone type of thing where they feel like they're not happy enough, at the same time they're not miserable enough to change something. In this case, everything feels really extreme. So it's all about change, progression, and evolution. So whatever challenges you might have been through, and I feel like they could be qualified as being quite intense, you have managed to come on top of them. Like with the Smith, especially as with the overthinking and taking action. These two, Pathless and the Forgotten, they might speak about loneliness and about being like a hermit. It's like a very lonely person, unable to relate to the general experience that people got. But let's not forget, this is about what people say, and this is coming through with huge respect. I don't know the demographic. I would feel like you wouldn't even recognize, or you'd be clueless who these people are. But because the three of wands, as I was speaking, it's like you're with your back turned and you're so focused on your future, on your progression. It's like you're not aware of how much respect already you've got, and people say around you about you that you are very resilient, very stress resistant, and that you're a very powerful person to have around. Your experience speaks a lot about yourself, about the way in which you handle it, and about yourself as a person. And I don't think you realize the magnitude of how much this is important. I want to say there is some sort of aspect of suffering in here with this pile, where it was so much that you didn't have time. You basically didn't have time to basically waver or really think about others, in that sense where you don't really think about what they think about you. So it's like being absorbed somehow into the important stuff, or again, being busy generally. But with the forest, it's as well, the positive things, it's people generally relating to you as a very having a person having a very rich inside world. It's like almost as if the amount of inspiration and passion that you've got, it's with the infestation, is very contagious. You are very inspirational. That's the most fitting word for this pile. I don't know, do you realize do you realize this, that you're very inspirational? I don't know, with the Smith, it's as if people look at your example and realize the possibilities or the things that they can change or implement into their life. That can be I want to say almost people by nature of hearing your example, knowing your example, they are so passionate. And if you're not doing podcasts, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not sharing your experience, I don't understand what you're doing as well. These four cards, three cards, let's say, the Ace of Light, the Forgotten, the Pathless, seems like if we are to look at your life, or if we are to assess your life experience, and I want to say you are very successful right now where you're at, but if we are to assess a segment outside of the context of your life, we would say that you were struggling. Or we would say this is almost, for some people it would feel like a lost case, or a lot of people would just sink into depression and basically wither away somehow. But in your case with the Smith, you realize somehow it's your best of the best of opportunities to actually reinvent yourself. Because again, as I was speaking, you are reinventing yourself because you can't handle the amount of how bad you felt, and it somehow urged you to change it. Very transformational, and also as if it was on purpose, as if you were challenged on purpose, as if it was all part of the game. And I want to say it was not easy. I want to ask you something with this pile. Are you aware of how inspirational you are? Are you aware of the intricate like contrast that you create as a result of comparing yourself, let's say, to other people's experiences? Are you aware that the threshold of pain in your case was far more like exceeded, like definitely exceeded from like generally what people like what we see? And do you see that with the infestation and the forest, like it's so funny because infestation got here, like it's a like I would say this is a negative card, but in this context, like infestation, I translated it into inspiration. Do you realize how powerful of an inspiration you are? And with the forest, how much resource you can give to people by nature of just being, existing, and expressing? Like this is like a very rhetorical question, let's say, for you, but um, do you realize that this path that you went through, and are you, I don't know, you are still out of it? Did you find meaning in that pain? Did you find solace into your pain or not? It's interesting to know, but do you realize that this is not a mistake? Do you realize that this is not a coincidence as well? Do you realize how many people's lives you can actually influence and how good of a guide you can be actually for a lot of people as a result of all this negativity that you went through? Do you as well realize that you are holding a light for a lot of people who feel the same way that you do? With the pathless and forgotten, do you realize that you can be like an agent for a lot of people who went through the same thing but didn't have the bravery and would have to actually look up for you to um, realize that, hurting is okay and changing your life is okay as well? Um, do you also realize, like with the Smith, that are you appreciating the amount of power and change you can invite into your life as a result of just being you? Because taking action, like, are you aware of the fact that it takes a lot of power and courage and boldness and bravery to transform everything that you went through? Because obviously it feels like this pile didn't choose a light, fuzzy, or like a easy life, let's say, but it ended up unfolding, it ended up revealing who you are, it ended up really giving you very noble qualities which were yours but were waiting to be revealed as a result or as a byproduct of you going through them, you know, going through the hardships. Almost as if, for you to understand specifically what I talk about, it's, you know, the bravest of the people manifest themselves in the most desperate situations. And if it wasn't for the situation taking place or being there in the first place, we wouldn't have seen that quality emerging. So it's as if the circumstances of your life were an excuse for you to basically manifest or for you to basically blossom into the characters of leadership, guiding guiding others, being inspirational again. And this is very interesting and also very like praiseworthy. I don't know if this is even a word, an existing word, but yeah, we have the open, the lightning. It's like this pile, if they were able to, if they were allowed to, they could influence a lot of people's lives. And for the long term, you don't know, or I want to ask you, but I feel like you don't know. Again, this pile feels like you've got your back turned for some reason. Not a bad or a good thing, but still, the lengthy. Do you realize how deep of an influence or as like a change factor you can be in a lot of people's lives? And with the lightning, it's like you can strike very on point ideas, very like you can spot BS, you can spot lies, you can spot the true meat in the game, let's say, and very open, like very like it comes really easily to you. Like, and it's all because of that negative experience. I guess this pile really came through with a message of wanting to quantify your negative experience for some reason, okay? Um, the firm, the fierce, and sausage. Okay. uh, Definitely that experience we talked about. I don't know which one it is and what it is, that's why I'm asking, but it made you, it revealed you, like it revealed you in the best of ways, and it still reveals you, it still shows, like, I can only give you so I got a bit interrupted. So the example or the analogy I was trying to give for your pile is basically when you have a person in the worst case scenario, like being faced with the worst case scenario, you then see what they are able to display in that situation. Without this dire situation or worst case scenario, you wouldn't know yourself. You wouldn't know what you're capable of, or you wouldn't know what this person is capable of displaying. And I feel like in your case, you don't know it, but in the worst case scenario or in a crisis, we would see so many great qualities being displayed by you. And I also want to say with the Sun and the Pathless, a lot of people thought and voiced this, that they would look up to you and they would want to ask for you, for your advice basically on how to navigate a difficult situation. Because I would say when they are faced with something, they think about you. They think, what would you do in this case? So I would say a lot of people, they look at your experience, they look at your guidance, your expertise, whatever it is for you, and they say, you know, you'd definitely have some sort of an answer to this difficult situation stuff, or you know, whatever. And it's a feeling of you're more than qualified to actually lead, or you're more qualified than you're actually thinking of. And I want to say it's like with the Smith and the Queen of Pentacles, it's like you are most likely dealing with your own type of stuff, or with your own life, you know, type of thing, and you don't even realize. So as well, I wanted to ask you, are you aware of that? Are you aware of how people are looking up to you? Perhaps you're not so aware because it's as if with the Queen and the King of Swords, you are most likely busy with your own life, like getting along with your own life and sorting it all out. But nonetheless, we have a very positive impression, and as well as, like, I believe it's more than just an impression. It's more linked to your life progression. And I want to say, like, I want to stress this out. Maybe some people are going to think that what I've been through is not a lot, or is not as, like, deep, or maybe some of you are going to underestimate. And who knows, perhaps this is your right to do so, but I do not encourage you to treat lightly the pain or the experience of maybe loss, or um, pain, generally speaking. Don't underestimate it, and don't make yourself think that what you've been through is really something easy. Okay, so if you relate to this pile, most likely you are not, like, you're still here, like you haven't clicked off. But I want to say, whatever the challenge you might have gone through, you don't have to underestimate it. You don't have to undermine it. You don't have to undermine its value. And definitely, you should be looking at yourself and considering yourself not only lucky to have yourself, but also proud that you showed, displayed, and had the actual resilience and bravery to advance. Because definitely in here, people around you are more in tune with the quality and the power, the innate power that you possess. They are more in tune to say and to actually vocalize the fact that you are a very, very strong character, very strong individual, and that you can pierce through a lot of pain, a lot of, let's say, illusion and mediocrity altogether. And I would say you could do that, like, on the daily basis without realizing it, you know. Um, So also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, because this is sectioned for some reason, recording. But the lengthy and this money aspect, I don't know, a lot of people could be feeling a great deal of gratitude and appreciation and general like feeling of relief and hope that you are in their life, or you've participated in their life at some point, you know. If you are wondering, there are people who are thinking about you, and the ones you like separated from for different reasons, they are missing you a great deal. And I feel like they're missing the quirky, the maybe insecure at times, the fearful, also the adorable in all of this, like qualities of yours. And I want to say you've got some very core people who admire, respect, and love you for all the sides and all the parts of you and all of the phases you've been through. And I want to say you've got like, I don't know what kind of, maybe this is love related because I was looking through the cards, but I feel like, you know, you've got some people really rooting out for you. And I don't know if you are aware of this. Maybe you are not, and I have to really emphasize this. Definitely, I wanna see like if this is true, if you could mention what's the case in here, but you've got some very like deep relationships or people rooting for you, and this is like beyond the temporary. So it feels like they are not rooting for you because they've seen something they could profit off of you, or they're rooting for you even if you are at times feeling like you're weak, or if you've gone through some difficulty and you were at your lowest points, these people are still loving you, they are still rooting for you, they are still fighting or would fight for you in these moments. So definitely interested to know who these people are if this is true. And what I want to emphasize for this pile and actually ask you is, if that story is true and it's really resonating with you, and you know, um, how aware and what is the degree of awareness that you've got, and what do you generally think about the impact, about the inspiration that you provoke and that you basically create in people's lives? And are you aware of your worth per general? Because I want to say for some reason this pile feels like they are too busy. Okay, like they're so busy, they're so overworked, or maybe not. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you're busy on something else, but you know, it generally feels like you are not necessarily zoning into the actual core aspect of what I have outlined in here. Maybe it's for a good reason, who knows, but maybe it's that, again, you're not trying to victimize, you're always on the lookout for the best solution and you have no time for this. But I was just curious for the matter of like experimenting or whatever, but yeah. People told a lot of positive things about you specifically, and um, generally like aimed at saying what a great character you are for the hardships you have managed to endure. And they look at you and see a potential for like a cooperation of sorts, or they would like to ask for some sort of advice. Or I would generally see you as like a person who's going to be at some point interviewed, and it's like share your experience, share your like, I would like this video to be an inspiration for you to understand that your life story is worth sharing. And especially it would capture a lot of interest, and maybe, I don't know, maybe, who knows, if you are willing and if you are feeling like it, you could start by exposing and describing it right here in the comment section if you want. But I want to encourage you to understand that whoever resonates with pile number 3, you could find potential people who can relate to your pains as well, so that you don't have to feel lonely. And whichever case, whichever pile you chose or you're going to choose, know that people who resonated with that, they're great. They are in great numbers, so you don't have to feel like you're alone in this. And that definitely don't like underestimate your journey, and don't underestimate the impact. And how aware are you of that impact? Basically, that was the whole overarching theme of like a question for this pile. And do see yourself in the mirror and consider yourself really lucky to have yourself and proud of yourself as well for the fact that you showed initiative and you changed many things that would otherwise be considered unchangeable, or like many would actually just fall prey to a lot of negativity. So yeah, we have that for pile number 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. These are the most obvious ways in which you can support me. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Um, if you want to open up, you can do that. I will gladly read. It's very interesting to read your stories. It's definitely very interesting to see the progression and the experience you've had overall. It's like, the unwrapping of the gifts, maybe at times, even if our life experiences could be not so like qualified to be called gifts, but still, in the end, they kind of all are, especially because it reveals who we are, you know. But you can never know a warrior without exposing them to a real warrior situation. So it's definitely about this pile. So yeah, thanks for watching. Take care.